Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Mars. Thank you for supporting us on all our different platforms and continue to do so, please. Today, what are we discussing? What does this look like? DC Marvel, DC Marvel, DC Marvel, Marvel DC. People are saying that there's going to be a merger, that Marvel may be taking over DC. Are they out there rockers? I don't know, man. These rumors, I don't understand where they come from. I don't know if they're fanboys. I don't know if it's, things being floated by the studios. I don't even know if there's serious discussion. I don't think so. But let's just break it down, okay? Marvel Studios is one of the biggest and most successful movie studios recently. Without a doubt, all their movies have been doing, well, not all, most of their movies do very, very well. On the other hand, we have DC, who has some excellent IP. Batman, Superman, and they've made some serious money. But it has been an inconsistent ride on how many of the things that they've been able to do. Now, At&T bought Warner Brothers, which owns DC. And supposedly, according to the rumors, they want to sell DC because it's not doing as well as it's doing. DC Comics, excuse me, as well as it should be. I'm like, it doesn't even make sense because their movies, the money that they bought this company for are based on the IP, the information, the stories that are coming from the DC libraries and stuff. Why in the world would they give that to Marvel? Of all companies, their biggest competitor. It doesn't even make sense. I can understand what they could be doing, and I think this is something that probably some people need to start looking at. Back in the early 80s and 90s, a lot of newspaper companies in the United States, they merged their backroom operations. So what do I mean by that? A lot of them, what they did is to reduce the cost of print and, of course, to break unions, they reduced how much they bought the paper that they made the newspapers on. So this reduced the cost for them. Instead of they buying a huge amount, and then getting a volume discount, they were therefore be able to turn around and reduce the amount of money that they had to pay for it, they're the only game in town. That was the big problem. They were the only game in town, the company, but what happened is that the two sides of the company kept their editorial independence. How successful was this? As you can see, a lot of the companies practically went out. It turned out that only one could be successful. So I'm 50-50 on this type of idea, but I'm hoping not. I think competition, particularly amongst the comic companies, is really good because this is where new ideas, new artists, new writers, who come out with new things. If we just have just two of the biggest behemoths just combining together, that's it. In the comic book industry, Marvel's around 40%. DC fluctuates 20 to 30%. So basically you have anywhere between 60 to 70% of the market locked up between those two big companies. Two huge companies, And, I understand, yeah, it's just not a great idea. But I also understand what's going on. So in the years, when you look at the comic books, when you look the growth and how much the comic books have done over the years, in the last decade, I think in the middle of the decade, they made almost $580 million before the decade, that was their height. But by the end of the decade, they're breaking it at 520, 540 at the max. They didn't make as much as they could have possibly have done. Yes, the decade began, but it came with huge hopes. And what are the reasons for this? The biggest reason is that the amount of readership has dropped. You no longer have the same type of eyeballs you had 20, 30 years ago because there's so many other places people can go for entertainment. They can go to TV shows, they can go to streaming, they can go to video games, they can go to manga, they can go to animated shows. So there's a lot of different ways that people can consume different types of entertainment for them. So yes, and so comics have not done a great job, if you ask my explanation, of at least getting that information out and getting people to continue to read. Because it's a different format, and a lot of younger people are not reading as much as some of the olders are. When you go to the comic book shops, I know people always complain, but it definitely tends to trend a little older than usual. But they do business. Why? Because you have a lot of collectors who are coming in, and that's probably, I think, one of the largest segments for Marvel and DC there. But new readers, new people are coming in, and don't get me wrong, both companies are trying to bring them in. They're doing different things. You have DC doing the YA novels, Cami Garcia doing the Raven novels. Marvel has done, and they have DC has the Young Animals, and Marvel's been doing their thing too. But the fact of the matter is, they're not growing as much or as fast as they possibly could, and so that's a big problem, and it's totally understandable why they want to try something different. Now, whether this will go down, I don't know. You know, under normal business, you would not want to have the two largest competitors in any market being able to get together. But if they're able to frame it in such a way, and this is how a lot of them are, they're like, hey, we're just a small part of the entertainment pie. There's just so much more in the written, you know, people can read and do that. Then of course, you know, the Justice Department may say, okay with the merger. But as a consumer standpoint, I think it's a bad idea. Just the way I thought it was a bad idea for Fox and Marvel to merge. I mean, Fox and Marvel or Disney to merge, because now you have all the Marvel IP together, which is, I kind of understand why you can sell that there. But in terms of just mere power, how much DC has, it's just, I mean, Marvel has, is just ridiculous. I mean, basically, you know, I think last year they made nearly $10 billion. That's like the most money ever made by a movie studio, ever. And, you know, you know, what else? Who's going to stop them? No one has the same depth of breadth of IP that they do. And just the Marvel stuff alone, this is what I'm saying. You have people who've been reading these comics for years and who passed on, at least not necessarily the comics, but the stories to their families and friends. And some of these things have been around, like DC Superman, have been around forever, you know, and everybody knows. It's almost as well known as the story of the is Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny or something like that. You know, and this is important. People go to stories that they can connect with or resonate with or understand and have a history with. And so that's why many of those characters have been successful for both Marvel and DC. But bringing them both together, bad idea. I just don't see it happening. But you know what? The Fox thing, I saw that happening, but I didn't think they would let it happen. And this would be the exact same thing if they do. I don't see it happening, but if it happens, it's because they're letting it through. And I don't think that's good overall for us as consumers of media, because all it's going to do is do what? Drive up the price. Spinner Rack, continue to support us. Out.